Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, Vanny is back into the Card 5 Vanguard deck profile. If you enjoyed them, like, comment, subscribe, and start, shall we? This time we're covering Dragon Empire Bavsargra Set 6. So, Bav is the deck that I didn't really change once the Festival Collection came out, because there was nothing I really wanted from the Festival Collection. Then I ended up adding the Festival Collection cards when Set 6 rolled around, because we only got one good Bavsargra support card, and quite literally I just wanted any excuse to say I changed my Bavsargra deck, so I did. And then I was like, you know what, I'll give the Set 6 card a chance. It's not bad, but it's not good either, so let's go ahead and get this started, shall we? First up we have our starter, Sealed Blaze Dragon Arisha. So grade 0 boost, 5k, show 6k base. I always love looking at this thing. Auto and short upon you 1 second, draw a card, stand start ability, not much about it. It's just when you ride upon it, you draw a card. The one disappointing thing I can always think about with Bavsargra is I don't like how the ride line was dragons. Because I really wanted like an all-dragon ride line, and they didn't give it to us. I mean, well, they did in the form of Dark States, but I wanted one for Dragon Empire, and I'm kind of like disappointed. Like in my mind, the Bavsargra ride line, and then just take Nirvana, and then you immediately have what I was looking for. But yeah, especially with blue dragons, I really love blue dragons. That would have been a cool thing, but whatever. So yeah, Irene Shot, this is actually one of the few stars that's required to be ran in the deck because the ride line requires it. So take that as you will. But yeah, Irene is just here because of the name and nothing else. Then we have our Overtrigger, Dragon Deity, King of Resurgence, Drag Veda, grade 0 boost, 50k shield, 5k power, Overtrigger mode, one Overtrigger deck reveals a trigger, remove that card, draw a card, choose one of your vehicles, plus one for the turn, and if you're to turn, activation effect, which is, choose one of your Vanguards and then stand it. Yeah, it's just a free Vanguard stand. All around, that's honestly pretty good. It's not super broken in Bav, because, yeah, you're consistently hitting with double crit and 43, but, like, you saw it coming, is the thing. You either prepared for it, or you didn't. And no one can say, like, there's no way to prepare for a situation. Very debatable, because I prepared for a lot of times where I got luck sacked to death. Still lost because of the luck sack, but I came really close to it. So, like, take that as you will. If you know what you're doing, you can definitely outlast the luck, unless it's, like, something as big as something else. But, like, over-triggers, depending on where it goes, doesn't really matter. So anyways, yeah. Javeda getting the Vanguard restand, very fun, getting the extra drive, the draw on plus 1 million, why the hell not, one of as the overtrigger. Then we have our normal trigger, 7 crits, 3 copies of Blaze Maiden Zone, grade 0, 15k power, 5k base, and 4 copies of Burning Flow Dragon, grade 0, boost, 15k power, 4k base, critical trigger, auto rear at the end, about to boost it, put it to soul, choose one of your vehicles, plus 2 for the turn. You never use it for that 2k, you just use it to get it to soul because you need a soul blaster, so that's fun. And then 4 copies of the front Blaze Maiden Parama. I honestly think Parama hates me when I use her in this deck, and every other, maybe not every other Dragon Empire deck, but at least in Nirvana, I see her consistently. When I think about her, she'll show up. I'm not even joking with you. All I have to do is think, I wonder what Parama, or like, I wonder where Parama is in my deck. Drive check. Parama, second check, Parama. That has happened on multiple occasions, so like, you know, that's the thing. I think Parama just hates being in Bavsargra because she never shows up in Bavsargra. So anyways, grade 0, boost, 15k shield, 4k power, front trinket, choose guard circle, your opponent's Vanguards are grade 2 or greater, gets plus 5k shield. Yeah, all around, it's a good 20k shield, and it adds more numbers to your front row, because in my opinion, Bavsargra kind of lacks in the numbers in the front row, or at least how I play it. So like, adding Parama makes sense. She just doesn't get drive checked. I don't know why. I think she genuinely just doesn't like being in Bav, because I run the same amount of fronts in all my other Dragon Empire decks, and this is the only one where I don't consistently sack fronts in, so yeah, take that as you will. For Panorama, one day she'll maybe be useful in Bavsargra. No offense, because she's useful in my other decks. Then we have 4 copies of Blaze Maiden Rona, grade 0 boost, 15k shield, 5k base. Heal trigger, standard heal. It's nothing special. I don't like the effect heals. If you don't know why, in my opinion, they're a little bit too situational, because one of them focuses on the opponent having an extra crit from certain means, and the other one focuses on the same unit attacking twice, or maybe it's twice or more, I don't know, but like, point is, in my opinion, it's not really like worth it, especially with those 5k minus shields, basically meaning that in a lot of situations where I can recall where if I did have those shields, I definitely would have lost. Greedon being one of them, and you would think that the heals would be more useful. Nah, it's easier blocking the first Greedon attack than just blocking the other two, because here's how I do it. Block the first one, PG the third one, and take the second one, because that's like, I mean, if I have 2 PGs, then it's obviously take the first one because that's the one that's least likely to kill you. But out of all of those, you have to take the second one because it's obviously the third one's the most dangerous. The first one is the easiest one to guard, so you'd be stupid not to. So yeah, like 4 regular heal. You run every heal you want, but I prefer this one. Then we have our grade, well, let me move on to our normal units. So our last grade 0 is 4 copies of Trick Moon, who I wish they made a cross-dress with, just because that would have been fun. Anyways, grade 0 boost 5k shield, 5k base, auto when it's placed on your back row center rear from your drop zone, counter charge 1. That is so specific. Not only does it have to be from drop, but it has to be back row center. I mean, like, the counter charge is good and all, don't get me wrong, but, for someone like me who kind of like hates calling over rear guards and has a small gag reflex to simply doing that or even thinking about it, yeah, I don't like Trick Moon because of that reasoning. If it restricted it to double arms, that would also be a fair argument, but double arms is a lot easier to get than like back row rear center, I guess. So then, and then dress boost, auto rear, when this unit boosts, the boosted unit gets plus 10k for the battle for each of your sealed blades made in Bavsargra is armed with. So, you know, right now it's only plus 20 because Bushy didn't want to give us the third order. Again, I say, everyone else got 2 cards of support or more. Or like, well, except for Mag, but Mag just got like 2 cards for set 7, so I don't really count that. But like, why didn't Bav get more? Why did she only get 1 support card? Orpha's got a really good support card. What the fuck? Yeah, 4 copies of Trick Moon. One day we'll get a third arm and he'll give plus 30k to the boosted unit. For now, though, Trick Moon's just like a nice 25k booster, and that's nothing to laugh at, so 4 of. Then we have our first grade 1, 2 copies of Sealed Blaze Dragon Ishita. Here's the reason why this is here. I didn't want to put that new grade 2 at 4. I don't like that new grade 2. He is simply here just so I can say I'm building a set 6 deck. I'm not even joking with you. That is why he's here. So, yeah, might as well like keep the thing that I actually like over the thing I don't like. So grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 7k base, continues rear guard during turn. This unit gets plus 2 for each card on your vanguard. Includes arms but not soul. So, again I say, until we get a third arm, this is like kind of bad because it's just an 11k booster. I mean, on the bright side, hey, it's an 11k booster, and if you're going first and you got like the double arms, then cool, and it can hit a grade 2. Afterwards, like this is kind of the worst thing to have on your board because, you know, unless you Persona Ride, it's not hitting on its own. And I did run into that situation at some point where it was the only like grade 1 I had in drop, and it was either that or I call a trigger, and it wasn't the crit effect one either. It was like just normal triggers. So like, you know, Ishita's fine and all in the grade, in like the early grade wash is a decent booster. I mean, obviously not better than Trick Moon, but like, yeah, Ishita has really been letting me down lately. He was so useful when he was first released, and now he's like kind of letting me down, but I have faith in him to come back. Plus, I really do like his wings arts, and that's kind of why I keep him along, because he does look cool to me, so why not run out of 2 out of, I believe in him. Then we have 4 copies of Sealed Blaze Dragon Samsara. This is the only reason I bothered changing my Bavsargra deck. I'm not even joking with you. This card's art is the only reason I bothered changing of it. If it wasn't for that art, I would not have changed it. So grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Continues rear guard. This unit gets all the following according to the arms lane. Vanguard circle, right DD arms during your turn, it gets plus 5, so it's a 13k base. Okay, that's pretty nice. During your turn, by the way. And left DD arms, it gets intercept. I really wish it got more shield along with that. So that'd be a little bit more useful. So, you know, like, the card you replace this with most likely, which was, like, Fushimisha Madoka, I think it was. You know, that one grade 1 triple rare from Dragon Empire that Bushy put in set 3 because they couldn't fucking think of a better triple rare. Or it was a double rare. I don't fucking remember what rarity it was. But point is, like, they put it in there because they couldn't get, like, any better ideas for, specific nation stuff. Obviously, I'm joking, but you get my point here. And, you know, where it got like plus a total of 10k shield if your opponent had 8 or more cards in drop. Really wish they had extra shield value going into this, but hey, Samsara is still good. It's a decent attacker, and it's got the intercept, so why not run out of 4 of? Except he never ends up in my front row, because either I'm winning and my board is filled, or I'm losing and my board is empty as fuck, and he's never in my drop zone when I need him to be, so take that as you will. 4 of Samsara. Then we have 4 PGs in Twin Buckler Dragon, grade 1 boost, 0 shield, 6k base. Contains Sentinel, 4 signs of the deck, and auto is put on guard, so choose one of you, it cannot be into the battle, and if your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from hand, discard it. So standard PG, nothing special about it, that basically means if this is only one of the cards in your hand when you place it on guard circle, you don't have to discard. All around that's really good, because that means you can be as aggressive as you want with this deck, and still be able to defend yourself, even if the PG is the last card in your hand, which is very different from the previous version of the game. And all around, pretty helpful, having that PG. I must say, this is kind of like, I'm not saying the PG itself's not needed. I'm saying that second skill is not needed, or at least in this deck, because how I play it and how have I experienced Bavsargra, that ability has never gone off. And in the situations where it would have gone off, I didn't have the proper way to, make it worth it. Like, if I really wanted to make it go off, there was a way I could quote-unquote plus off it, but, it would involve me ditching more than it's worth. That's all I'm gonna say for a guard that was already, like, enough. So, 4 of Twin Buckler. The PG skill is good. It can definitely help you if you went on the bit too aggressive, but like I said, this deck going on the aggressive is never really an issue with this deck. Like I said, I'm either winning because I have a full board, or I'm losing because I have an empty one, and the game literally stays that way. I'm not even joking with you. The way this deck plays, either I get a full board and I actually win the game right then and there, or I lose the game because I have an empty board. It really just doesn't depend on how the first grade 3 turn goes. Then we have our ride deck in Sealed Blaze Dragon Namakar. So grade 1 boost 5k shield, 8k base. Auto when it's placed on van by riding from Sealed Blaze Maiden Orisha. So boss 1 search to 1 Sealed Blaze Sword Prevete, or Sealed Blaze Shield Swabanya. Reveal it, put it to your hand and shuffle your deck. And then auto rear when the two attacks, it gets plus 2k for the battle. Okay, cool. So it's a 10k swinger. That's not really important. Like, this is technically better if you have 2 arms. This is inherently better if you have the right DD arms. But hey, you know what? Being able to search the deck's main mechanics of the sword and shield is very nice. I don't know why, but when I watched people, like, first play when Namakar and, like, the spear and the gun was first released, I saw people, like, kind of misplay with the, gun, not like the gun and spear, and believe that you could search them both. And I questioned why, because at that point, and I know this for a fact because I had put the card in tabletop myself, there was an English version of Namakar. So it was not like there should have been a lot of confusion between, like, what it says and what it does. I'm not saying anyone's stupid. No, I'm just, like, finding it questionable how I didn't misplay with it, and I call myself stupid a lot. So, like, I'm questioning, was for once I the smarter person, or did people think something was more broken than it did, and me being the type of person that doesn't like to break the fuck out of something, being the just being the right way there. Either way, it doesn't matter. A number card is in the right deck at 1. There's no need to run in the main deck because you can, like, call him back with Bavsargra. And then on to our grade 2s. This was at 4. And then I chose to run that 1 grade 2, so I guess this was at 6 deck. So now it's at 2 for some reason. Sealed Blaze Dragon Arunshina. By the way, I love this card more than that other one just because, like, look at its fucking wings. It looks so cool. I love the blue color. Like I said, I wish this was our main grade 3 instead of Bavsargra. I'm not hating on Bav. I love Bav. Okay, that love is an overstatement, but I don't hate her, and I don't dislike her. I like her perfectly fine. I think that I just really wanted that fourth, another Dragon Ride line, because at that point we didn't have Dradjold, and I really wanted to see, like, a blue dragon, so I was kind of disappointed that we got Bav, but whatever, with the ride line that we have. So anyways, grade 2 inside 5k shield, 10k base, auto when it's placed on rear, perform all the following according to the arms on Vanguard. Right DD arms gets plus 10 for the turn, left DD arms counterboss 1 call, grade 1 less from drop to rear. Cool, so it gets another rear guard along with it, and it gets plus 10. All around, I like this thing. I think it's really good. Again, I question why I bothered putting it to 2. I guess, like I said before, it's just so I can say I have a set 6 deck profile. Like, take that as you will. I do think this is genuinely better than the other grade 2. When we get to that grade 2, I will make my reason why known. So, like, take it or leave it, 2 of. Then we have the grade 2 I don't like. Sealed Blaze Dragon, Chabada. So this is partially to do with his art and mainly to do with his skill. So grade 2 is at 5k shield, 10k base. Continuous rear guard. During your turn, if you have 2 or more arms on your Vanguard, he gets plus 5. Okay. Fair. Not bad. Not incredible, but not bad. Also, again, I say, so here's the thing. Now it's confirmed. Because we can chalk on Bavsargra that was maybe a misprint when it said or more. Because I was willing to chalk that up to a misprint. But this time it says it right here. More, baby. It's guaranteed now. They can't fucking back out of it. Bav was a possible misprint. That right there. Or like a misleading detail. No. Set 6, they confirmed it. Bushy better fucking do it now. They have proof. As God as my witness. I find it. Okay, anyways, auto drop when this unit is placed on rear. Drop from rear. When your unit is placed from drop to rear, if your Vanguard is Sealed Blaze Main, Bavsargra, so counterboss 1 call to rear guard. Okay. Time to distinguish why I hate this card compared to this one. 1, on the turn they're placed, this is more power. For free. I mean, like, both of them are for free, and obviously that's like not a fair judgment because this one's going to be continuous. So yes, granted, continuous is decent skill, but you have to remember sometimes the game won't last long enough for that continuous to matter. I can definitely think of a few games where if I had used I'm not referring to this deck, I'm referring to a different deck, by the way, where if I hadn't gone for the power gain that turn, like, it was just a difference of 5k. I mean, technically it was a difference of 4k, but it changed it up to like a 5k extra drop. If I didn't do that skill, I would have lost, because the next turn they would have killed me, and I killed them that turn. So, like, there are definitely times where I can think that the continuous skill would definitely be more useful than the more autoplay skill, but I do personally think the autoplay skill is better because this deck, in my opinion, fits more on the aggressive front, and you can't stall out with this deck. As for the drop zone calling skill, here's my issue with it. This is good because he calls himself when Bavsargra goes off. I mean, it doesn't have to be from Bavsargra goes off. You can combo with this one by calling a grade 1 less from drop, and then use his skill to call himself back. But my issue with this is, if you're not calling from drop, this is useless. Which means if you're not arming with Bav that turn, and that's your only other... Because I saw people say they're going to drop this for this, which means if you're not arming with Bav that turn, this is a vanilla and drop. Which sucks. While this one, as long as you have a left DD arms, which left DD arms, unless you go into Chandra, is going to stay on your field the whole time, get you that call for the same cost. Like, in my opinion, this is better. This is only out of 3 of because I at least want to see it in drop, but in my opinion, this is inherently better. Because not only does it act as an actual playmaker for this thing to go off, but it can actually be useful even when I don't arm from Bavsargra. Because if you cut all of this and you only run this one, if you're not arming that turn, this is a straight up vanilla. Take that as you will. I have my opinion, you guys have yours. I personally believe this is better. I do believe they should be run at the same deck. I believe this should be at like a 3 of and this should be at a 2 of, but take that as you will. Then we have our last grade 2, the Ride Line grade 2, 1 copy in the ride deck of Sealed Blaze Dragon, Bavsargra. So grade 2 is a 5k shield, 10k base. Other one is placed on Vanguard from riding from the grade 1. Choose an arms from the drop zone, put it to hand. So cool, you just get a free Ride Line discard, because typically what you do is you use this thing to Soul Blast the starter, search your deck for either Swabanya or Privete, then you discard whatever one you search so your opponent doesn't know it's in your hand, ride Bavsargra, then just fetch it right back. So yeah, they know the order's in your hand, but they already knew that was in your hand, so basically you just get free ride deck fodder. And then auto rear when this unit attacks, if your Vanguard is armed, it gets plus 5k for battle. That's never going to go off. There's no way to call this from drop, and there's no way to call from Soul. Like, it's easy to get it into drop because you can just Soul Blast it, but it's never going to get back on board unless, like, when they make another arm, it calls from drop. That's something the new arm could do, but I don't know what they're gonna do with it. They have to now. I am actively serious now. It says 2 or more this time. This time they can't cop out. There's proof right now. So yeah, take that as you will. Bavsargra, I'm gonna put him in the ride deck. There's no reason to run in the main deck. Yeah. Then we move on to our grade 3s. The last unit card in the deck, but not the last card in the deck. 3 copies in the ride deck, 1 copy in the main... Sorry, fuck, swap those. 3 copies in the main deck, 1 copy in the ride deck of Sealed Blaze Maiden Bavsargra. So grade 3, 200 per zone right, 13k base. Auto Van once per turn. When this unit is armed, Soul Charge 1, choose a card that's grade 1 or less from your drop zone, call it to rear guard. So, you know... You get Trick Moon probably the first time to counter charge because you're probably going to be playing 2 orders that turn. Or you call Ishita, worst case scenario. Best case scenario, you call Trick Moon or Samsara, depending on the situation. So, all around, pretty good. I mean, she can also call Trigger, so that's a plus. And then Act Van once per turn if this unit is armed with 2 or more cards. Yeah, okay, so now it's guaranteed. Like, Bavsargra already had it, and that was wishful thinking for me, but I was really starting to doubt that it was true because we got this instead of a fucking third arm. But you know what? In the form of his text, that proves that there's going to be a third one at some point, or at least a third one. So by Soul Blasting 2, retire all your opponent's front row, and this unit gets a crit for the turn. So cool. She gets double crit, combined with Drake Veda. That's really deadly because, you know, you're getting 2 Vanguard attacks with double criticals and a total of quad drive, so it's all around pretty dangerous. I like Bav. I think she's good. She gets that rear guard retire. It's very easy to get, like, the double arm in this deck, and not to mention, she can consistently get the board. I think my issue with her is that if the game drags on long enough, I will eventually get into a soul problem. But, like, this is involving the game goes past the losing point. Like I said earlier, this deck, how it wins and loses is decided on first grade 3 turn. I either win based off my field on first grade 3 turn, or I lose based on my field at first grade 3 turn. If my field is mostly empty, I've lost that game already. There's no point in playing on. It is very obvious that I'm not going to lose, and there are many game scenarios I can go over with you that just pick that, but we're running short on time, so I don't want to say them. And then as for winning, if my field is mostly full, it is guaranteed to win. There's never been a game, even when my opponent stacks the over, that if I've had a full field on first grade 3 turn, I have lost. There's never been a game like that. This deck's win is always guaranteed either on first grade 3 turn or lost on first grade 3 turn. It just depends on the board. So yeah, take that as you will. 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the red deck. Then move on to our orders. 1 copy of Sealed Blaze Gun, Chandra. Believe it or not, despite the fact this is at 1 copy, I still see it very often. I see it like 2 times every 3 games. Yeah, 2 times every 3 games is an accurate assessment. Yeah, 2 times every 3 games I'll see this. So, in my hand, by the way, not just in damage checks. So, grade 3, normal order, left DD arms, Sealed Blaze, made in Bavsargra. After being played, the specified Vanguard is, armed to it. If a new left DD arms is armed, put this to drop. Play it by soul blasting 1, so basically free with Bavsargra skill. Auto van when the unit armed with this attacks, counter blast 2, and the armed unit gets +1 drive for the battle. At the end of the battle, put it to drop. Okay, cool. Combined with Bavsargra and the sword, that means Bav plus maybe Trick Moon is hitting for, let's see, 13, 23, 48, double crit, most likely because you used her skill with triple drive, and possible extra damage if you use the sword skill. All around, that's pretty good. I mean, you're using up a lot of counter blasts that turn, but A, it's worth it. Chandra's fine for like those final turn moves, but in my opinion, I don't want to risk it on Chandra because counter blast tends to be the thing I run into a problem more first. So I don't really want to risk it on Chandra. If you want to risk it on Chandra, put it like a 2 of or 3 of, but again, I see this thing often enough at 1 of, so take that as you will. Then we have 1 copy of the Order, Sealed Blaze, Shield Swabanya. I still remember games, or like I still remember when the deck first came out, people shit talked to me for running Swabanya at 4, and they wouldn't listen to the reason of, if you keep arming it, you get to keep soul charging and keep calling stuff. Meaning in the situations where this is the last card in your hand, or your only hand card is an Order, you can keep playing Swabanya. Meaning you can keep getting a better grade 1 from your drop zone than you might already have on your board, but no one would listen to that logic. And yeah, I still won games with it, so fuck you, everyone else. So grade 3 normal order left DD arms as well. So basically you cannot have them on the same time unless there is a new Bavsargra or a new card that would say that. Same as the last one after being played, specified arms. If a new left DD arms is armed, put it to drop. And then play it by counter blasting 1 instead of soul blasting 1. Auto van once per turn when the armed unit is attacked, that armed unit gets +10 for the battle. Cool. So being able to pump the armed units to at least a 23 is pretty nice. It adds for a little bit more defensive. Definitely helps against Dradude. I know this because I tested this deck out against Dradude set 7, and yeah, it lost, but it did hold its own. Partially because of an misplay on the Dradude side, but who cares? Anyways, yeah, so Swabanya all around, really nice order, being able to get that 10k shield. It is my preferred left DD arms because I do love, definitely prefer like the more safety side and not the risky side of Chandra over here because I like being able to keep my shield because once it gets to drop, it's not coming back after Haley Barger's gone. So like, take that as you will. 1 of in the deck because you can search it with the start. Typically, this is what you search once it ends up in your opening hand. Then we have 3 copies of our Sealed Blaze Sword Privete, grade 3 normal order, right DD arm, so it goes on the right side after being played. Again, I say, and someone called me blind for this, you're aware that when you place these orders, that by the technical default of how their arts line up, while yes, it is her right and her left, for you it's reversed. So the shield goes on the right side for you if you want it to look proper. The sword goes on the left side for you, again, if you want it to look proper, and I can prove it to you right now if I felt like it. But anyways, yeah, anyways, after being armed, you know, right DD arms, all this stuff. Play it by soul blasting 1, auto van when this unit is armed. Sorry, when the armed unit attacks, it gets +10k for the battle. At the end of the battle, if your opponent's damage zone is 4 more cards, 4 less cards, counter blast 2, put it to drop. Choose an opponent's Vanguard, deal 1 damage. Cool. So not only swings with extra crit, but also swings for pressure on the fact that if they're at 4 damage, you can quickly sword them to death. If they block the Vanguard attacks all around, that's pretty good, and that's very easy to put the opponent to 4 damage in this deck. So Privete is nice. I see it very often. I like having it at 3 of because that means at any point I could possibly kill my opponent with their at 4. Being able to do just 3 attacks and get the numbers. All around, I like Privete. I think it's good. Run it at 3 of. Then we have 3 copies of Sealed Blaze Spear Adhita. So grade 3, normal order, right DD arm, Sealed Blaze playing Bavsargra as per usual. Counter blast 1 to play it as a right DD arm. So basically these cannot exist at the same time, unfortunately. Auto van, when this unit is armed, draw a card. Or sorry, when this card is armed, draw a card. You may play 1 additional arms that turn. So here's the thing. If I know the ruling correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you can just play all of these at once in the same turn. And granted, Bav will only go off once, but you'll get to draw 3 times, and you can play an order after each one. So arm it once, counterblast, cool, play another order, play this spear again, do it again, and keep doing it till you run out of spears, and then just arm, like, Sobanya, I mean, Prevete. So all around, pretty good, or, like, arm a left DD arms. Like, this is why you can kind of get to dual arms on first grade 3 turn, and I really like that. I think that's really cool. And then continuous van during your turn, the arm unit gets +10, so cool. Works with restance, so even if like you bolt the sword after you over trigger, you still get to keep that double arms, and you still get to keep that +10. So I think all around Ahita is really good. Getting the 10k, getting that free ability to arm again with Prevete, Swabanya most likely, because you can call it Trick Moon from the Vanguard, meaning that effectively it's just a counterblast 1 to arm 2. All around, Heat is really good in my opinion, and I like it, so I run it at 3 of in my decks. And that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. A lot of you are probably thinking, where the hell is that 1 grade 3? I forgot what it's called, but you know that one that arms from drop if you have an arm equipped or something, like for counterblast of 1. My thing is, I just don't like it. It doesn't show up in my hand often enough for me to actually use it, because again, I say, first grade 3 turn is the turn that decides whether this deck wins or not. I don't win on first grade 3 turn, it just tells me that I'm going to win based off what my first grade 3 turn looks like, or if I'm going to lose based off, like, that has never not been the case. So, that grade 3 never really showed up when I needed him to, even when I did run him, so, like, why would I run a card that I'm not going to use, especially when I said before, like, Counterblast was the issue I ran into the most of this deck, so why would I run a card that costs more Counterblast? Like, it doesn't make sense. So, if you want to run it, go ahead, but as I say, this is how the deck is. It works pretty well. Again, there are some things interchangeable between it, but I do like the consistency this deck has, except for some reason I draw too many orders when it comes to the games I'm going to lose. So, and I mean the games I'm going to lose. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm ending here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, follow Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.